Howdy, guys. Welcome to night 40 of Big Brother All-Stars. This is Cliff Notes from outside the Big Brother house. Hope y'all had a fantastic Saturday. Welcome aboard. The Big Brother house was certainly a little bit exciting. We had players selected for veto competition. We had the veto competition itself, and some exciting news on that. The feeds came back on late afternoon yesterday. We have a new veto winner, and just in case anyone hasn't heard and is curious, maybe this will give you a little clue here or there. Yes, indeed, Davonne has won the veto competition. I think it's the first win that she's ever had inside Big Brother. So congrats to Davonne. I'm so happy for her. I'm happy for her personally. I'm happy as viewers that we get to see someone that potentially is going to shake this house up just a little bit. So props to you, Davonne. Now let's talk about what's going to happen. The big theme of this evening is she going to use it? Is she not going to use it? Oh, we've got a lot of conversations to go over with that, my friends. All right, so first of all, let's talk in the backyard. Tyler and Christmas are talking to each other. Tyler says, I'm going home. That's it. At this point in time, with Davonne winning it, I'm going home. He says, I know that Davonne and Kevin are tight. It makes sense that she would keep him around. And if she doesn't use his veto on Kevin, she loses him. That's it. She just loses him as a support. So she is going to use it. He also is telling Christmas, said, look, the other thing is that Dani and Davonne have some kind of girls alliance with Nicole as well. The three of them are tight with each other. She's using the veto. And Christmas saying, well, maybe so, but if so, who's she going to put up? Christmas thinks that Ian's going to go up. Tyler thinks it's going to be Enzo. So big questions. Is she going to use veto or not? And if she does, she doesn't have a lot of people to choose from. It's going to be an exciting Monday, or it could be Sunday veto ceremony. The show is on Tuesday instead of Wednesday, so we're not real sure when the veto ceremony is going to be. We'll find out. All right, so in the photo room, Tyler and Cody are talking. Tyler again is saying, look, I think she's going to use a veto. I think Enzo is going to go up. He says, Ian is not going to go up because Nicole has too much influence with Dani, and she's not going to want Ian to go up, so I think it's going to be Enzo. Cody is saying, I'm going to be really pissed with Dani if that happens. That is not acceptable. They talk about it. He thinks really the only chance is to save Tyler is to convince Davonne that they're going to vote Tyler out. If she's comfortable that Tyler's gone, maybe she won't use a veto, and then they can flip and do things like that. Tyler comes up with the idea, suggests that maybe we need to have a fake fight. Have me get in a fake fight with one of our alliance members, so it looks like I'm completely on the outs with all of y'all, so Davonne doesn't feel like she needs to use the veto because I'm going home no matter what. Later on, the name that pops up is potentially Christmas. Tyler and Christmas will start a fake fight with each other and see if they can't use that to convince Davonne not to use a veto. We'll see. HOH room, Dani and Davonne are talking. Dani is swearing to Davonne, saying, look, myself, Cody, Nicole, we do not have a final three. I swear to you that we do not, Davonne. Well, maybe she didn't have a final three, but she's got a final four with Nicole and Cody and Enzo. It's called the Core Four. She also has another final four with Nicole and Cody and Ian called the Four Prime. So she's in tight with Nicole and Cody, but she's swearing to Davonne that she doesn't. Davonne is saying, look, you and Nicole and myself, we're firm. We're good. But I need to keep Kevin. I can't let Kevin go. She is suggesting that Memphis go up as the replacement. But Dani is saying, no, why would we do that? He's not a threat to the game. What does it matter if Tyler's the actual target as they're trying to convince Davonne anyway? But she said, oh, why would you do Memphis? He's not a threat. Dani is wanting to know if Davonne's going to use a veto. And Davonne saying, no, what did the viewers think, I wonder? Davonne, the viewers want you to use a veto. Please use a veto. Davonne is saying from the outside, it looks like a huge alliance, Dani, and that myself and Kevin and David, we're just going to get picked off one by one. Dani is saying, look, I get it, Davonne, but if you use it, it's going to hurt your game. Davonne says, why? Why is that? She says, because everyone, if they see you use it, they're going to assume that you and Kevin are a very tight pair. Going to make it easy to justify picking y'all off if they think y'all are that tight. So it's going to hurt your game. She's planting her seeds. Dani is saying that hey, if you do use a veto, my only option is to put up an ultimate pawn, and then Tyler will go home. That's just going to have to be the way it is. Dani again says she didn't want to put up Enzo or Memphis because they would be pissed at her. anyone is going to be upset if she puts them up as a pawn. But here's the thing. Dani then tells Davonne, she says, look, if you use it, I'm not going to hold it against you if you do. That's interesting. It makes me think, does Dani really not want Davonne to use a veto? Or is she trying to work both ends? If Davonne uses it, well, then Dani's going to say, I'm good with it. Send Tyler out the door. They can't blame it on me because, all these powers got used and Davonne won the veto. Seems like she maybe is playing both ways. So we can't really figure out exactly what Dani's true desires are just yet. In the key room, Tyler and Memphis are talking. Memphis is saying that Tyler has the votes. Everyone's telling Tyler, you got the votes, my friend, you got it. He's saying, Tyler, you got the votes. We just need to convince Davonne that you're going home so that she doesn't use a veto. At that point, Memphis says, man, when that happens, Davonne is going to absolutely blow up when you end up staying and Kevin goes home. He says, but I don't care. Well, I'll let her blow up. I don't care. We're doing what we have to do. A little bit later in the evening, David finally confirms to Kevin and then later to Davonne that, yes, indeed, I have the power. I used it. He wasn't fooling anyone, but at least he's admitted it to them at this point. Don't know if anyone else knows, but at least those two. In the bathroom, Christmas and Nicole are talking. Christmas is, all right, here you go, guys, just to give you some ideas about where people are headed. Christmas tells Nicole, says, look, I just got through lying to Davonne. I said that I would vote to keep Kevin. And Nicole says, okay, I'm going to do the same thing. Let's let her think we're both voting to keep Kevin, that she's good. And then they're saying, well, we'll tell Davonne that after the votes, when Kevin goes home, we'll say, look, something happened at the very last second. We were forced to flip. We didn't have a choice. It wasn't us, trying to mend some fences to Davonne. So they're just lying to Davonne. They're admitting it to each other. And we all know that's what's happening. In the hammock in the backyard, Ian and Nicole are talking. Ian is very worried that he could go on the block, and if so, he could go home next to Tyler. He has a reason to be worried. I think if Dani puts him on the block, there's a very good chance that Ian could go home. He may not get put on the block for a variety of reasons, as we'll talk about. But if he goes on the block, yeah, be worried, Ian, be very worried. All right, in the kitchen, Davonne and Kevin are talking. Kevin is saying, everyone is saying I'm safe. They're trying to lure me into this fake sense of security. Tyler's saying, I'm going home for sure. There's no way I'm staying. And everyone is begging Davonne not to use the veto. If Tyler's going home anyway, why does it matter whether she uses the veto or not? It doesn't. And he gets it. Kevin knows that they're just blowing a bunch of smoke at him. All right, in the HOH room, Dani and Nicole talk forever. They spent hours and hours together. So I'll just summarize a few of the conversations throughout the evening. Dani says, hey, if Davonne doesn't use it, we have to send Tyler home or else Davonne will never trust us again. Dani seems right at this point that she's really pushing to go ahead and send Tyler out the door, which isn't a complete surprise. Dani is saying if she doesn't use it, then we'll try to get Memphis and Christmas to believe that Tyler was turning on the alliance, and we'll vote him out anyway because they're worried about how Memphis and Christmas will respond. So Dani's really trying to figure out a plan to get Tyler out and try to protect themselves, or at least her also. Nicole is saying, yeah, I really would rather lose Davonne than someone from the committee. I'm not really going for that. So we got a little friction here. Nicole is telling Dani, saying, hey, I can't even get you to do what I'm asking. It suggests to me that maybe you're tighter with Davonne than you are with me. Maybe so, Nicole. So we've got that. Dani is confronting Nicole about a leaked conversation that she had with Nicole that somehow got back to Tyler. Nicole is saying, no, I never told Tyler. I told Cody. But Dani is saying, well, I asked Cody. He said he never heard the story. And they go into all this stuff. God, Nicole's just going on. Oh, it's 4 a.m. Maybe he forgot and everything. She's trying to cover the fact that she probably told Tyler straight up. The key is trust is starting to become an issue with these two. It's, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Nicole says she isn't close to Tyler. She says she's not close to Tyler, but she wants Kevin gone simply because she thinks that Kevin would go after her and Cody if he stays in the house. Also, they're worried about Christmas if they send Tyler home. Nicole is saying, hey, maybe if we send Tyler home, maybe we need to blindside Christmas and somehow put it on Memphis, because otherwise they're going to be upset with us. Right, in the love room, Nicole is talking to the cameras alone. She's saying, Tyler's the only person I trust in this game, and Dani is cutting him. she's not happy. Later in the love room, Memphis and Christmas are talking. Memphis is repeating to Christmas this plan to convince Davonne that Kevin has the votes to stay. Says if she does use the vote, then Kevin and Davonne are going to be huge targets going forward. And Memphis is saying, look, if it gets used and Dani puts up Enzo instead of Ian, I'm going to have a huge issue with that. Memphis wants Ian on the block. He wants Ian gone. But he also says, Dani said yesterday that she wouldn't put Ian up, and Memphis is saying it's for obvious reasons. I take from that maybe they've gotten called out for the bullying of Ian, making fun of him a little bit. So for that reason, perhaps it's why Memphis is saying Dani won't put him on the block. But he says he's going to be upset if that doesn't happen. All right, in the love room, Davonne and Nicole are talking. Nicole is saying, look, I really want to vote to keep Kevin, Davonne. She's already said they're going to lie about that. She and Dani both are going to. But she's worried that Kevin will come for her if they keep him in the house. Davonne is saying, Nicole, Dani, y'all will not be Kevin's targets. He's got other targets. You don't have to worry about that. Feeds are down for almost 3 hours. All kinds of ideas about why, maybe redoing vetoes or the veto ceremony in the middle of the night. They come back on after almost 3 hours. No idea why. People are just talking away. All right, finally, in the HOH room, this is another long conversation. I had to finally shut it down right here at the very end. Dani and Cody are talking. Cody is saying that, hey, if the veto is used, Ian goes home. Well, Cody, it's up to Dani as far as who goes on the block. If Ian goes on the block, yes, he may go home, but he may not go on the block. Dani wants Christmas gone. Cody is saying he wants Tyler gone. Does he really want Tyler gone, or is he just spinning it to Dani? But he says he wants Tyler gone. She says she wants Christmas gone. They're both agreeing that the two of them, along with Enzo, Cole, Memphis, and Davonne, are a perfect final six. That's what they both want. And then Davonne goes, and the rest are final five. So there you go, guys. It's going to be very interesting until we get to this veto ceremony to see what Davonne uses. I hope she uses it, but we'll see. I will be back tomorrow morning, Monday morning. Y'all have a great Sunday. SKD 143. Cheers, guys.